Zeus, the father of gods and men. But how did this deity come to rule the sky, and how was he worshipped by the ancient Greeks? Today, we'll explore Zeus not only through myth, but also through his real cult, as it was lived every day in the Greek world. The figure of Zeus was not born in Greece. The Greeks brought him with them when they settled in the Balkan Peninsula around 2000 BC. His name comes from the Indo-European root divi, meaning sky. In fact, we encounter similar names among other peoples. Zeus corresponds to the Dios Pitar of the ancient Indians, the Jupiter of the Umbrians, and Jupiter of the Romans. The idea of a divine sky father is therefore very ancient, reaching back to the 3rd millennium BC. In Homer's Iliad, Zeus is the father of gods and men, ruling from his palace atop lofty Mount Olympus, or simply from the heavens themselves. Earthly kings are considered his descendants, and under his protection, thus called born of Zeus, or beloved of Zeus. Later, as monarchies gave way to city-states, Zeus became the protector of the polis, whether ruled by aristocrats or by the people. He was worshipped as Zeus Polius, Zeus Poliokos, and Zeus Eleutherios. Zeus also safeguarded the home and its courtyard. Known as Zeus Herkaios, from Herkos, meaning fence, his altar stood in the household courtyard, where the head of the family made sacrifices. In the Odyssey, the bard Phemios and the herald Medon take refuge at Zeus's altar to escape Odysseus's wrath after the slaughter of the suitors. In Olympia, they showed visitors the altar of Zeus Herkaios near the foundations of Oenomaus's house. In this aspect, he was also revered as Zeus Soter, the savior. As Zeus Ctesios, or Zeus of possessions, he protected household stores and cellars from thieves. Since the Greeks believed the household snake, the Oikouros ophis, guarded food stores, Zeus Ctesios was often represented in serpent form. In Athens, he was also worshipped as Zeus Meilichios, the kindly god who softened when implored for help, whether for wealth or favorable weather. Xenophon himself sacrificed to Zeus Meilichios in Lampsacus when he lacked money. In Athens, this aspect of Zeus was honored in early spring at the festival of the Diasia. Before laws were written down, Zeus protected strangers, beggars, fugitives, and suppliants. Thus he was invoked as Zeus Xenios, Hikisios, and Phixios. When Odysseus confronts the Cyclops Polyphemus, he appeals to Zeus Xenios, insisting that disrespect toward guests would bring divine punishment. Zeus also presided over oaths as Zeus Horkios, woe to the one who broke them. When the Achaeans and Trojans swore to let Menelaus and Paris decide their quarrel in single combat, Zeus was the first witness they invoked. The Homeric gods were not morally perfect, and neither was Zeus. Yet as centuries passed and human customs grew more refined, the gods too were seen as guardians of justice. In the Iliad, Zeus punishes men who pervert justice by unleashing destructive storms that ruin their harvests. Over time, his supremacy over the other gods paved the way toward monotheistic thought. Aeschylus, in his lost tragedy Heliades, even suggested that Zeus was not only the sky and the earth, but also all things and beyond all things. Above all, Zeus was the god of the sky and weather. He sent winds, clouds, rains, hail, snow, thunder, and lightning, sometimes as blessings, other times as punishments. His epithets reflect this: cloud-gatherer, thunderer, lightning-flinger. Rainwater itself was called the waters of Zeus. In Attica, people prayed to him for rain with the words, "Rain, rain, O dear Zeus, upon the fields of the Athenians and their plains." In Arcadia, priests performed rituals at Mount Lycaon to summon rain in times of drought. On Aegine's highest peak, they built an altar to Zeus Xenios after he ended a devastating drought with rains dot above all. Zeus was the god of the sky and weather. He sent winds, clouds, rains, hail, snow, thunder, and lightning, sometimes as blessings, other times as punishments. His epithets reflect this: cloud-gatherer, thunderer, lightning-flinger. Rainwater itself was called the waters of Zeus. In Attica, people prayed to him for rain with the words, "Rain, rain, O dear Zeus, upon the fields of the Athenians and their plains." In Arcadia, priests performed rituals at Mount Lycaon to summon rain in times of drought. On Aegine's highest peak, they built an altar to Zeus Xenios after he ended a devastating drought with rains. Zeus was often worshipped on mountain peaks, where the first clouds gathered. Zeus Acraios, Epakrios, Koryphaeos. In the Iliad, he sits upon Mount Ida near Troy, where he had a temple and sanctuary. His exclusive weapon, the thunderbolt, made him invincible, feared by both gods and men. With it he defeated the Titans and the monstrous Typhon. The eagle, his sacred bird, was linked to the lightning's speed and majesty. Zeus also revealed his will through omens: thunder, lightning, rainbows, falling stars, even blood rain. Dreams, bird flights, and other signs were interpreted as messages from him. Among his most famous sanctuaries was the oracle at Dodona, at the foot of Mount Tomaros. There, priests and priestesses gave oracles by listening to the rustling of a sacred oak tree. According to Herodotus, the Dodona oracle had two possible origins. Egyptian priests claimed Phoenician pirates once abducted two priestesses, selling one in Libya and the other in Epirus. These women founded the oracles of Zeus in their new homelands. But the priestesses of Dodona told a different story, that two black doves flew from Egyptian Thebes, one alighting on a tree at Dodona, speaking in a human voice, and commanding a shrine be built for Zeus. In Hesiod's Theogony, we read of Zeus's birth and early struggles, how Rhea saved him from being swallowed by Kronos, how he grew up in Crete, overthrew his father, and divided the cosmos with his brothers, sky for himself, sea for Poseidon, underworld for Hades. He married his sister Hera, with whom he quarreled often, yet always reconciled. Zeus's love affairs were countless. From goddesses, he fathered Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, the Muses, the Graces, and the Fates. From mortal women, he begot heroes and kings: Heracles with Alcmene, Perseus with Danae, Minos and Rhadamanthus with Europa, and many others. For the aristocratic clans of Greece, descent from Zeus was a source of pride. Myths of his love affairs often arose to justify noble lineages, even if later generations mocked him as a notorious womanizer. Zeus was not just a god of the sky. He was a reflection of human life itself, ruler, father, protector, and sometimes flawed. From mountain peaks to family hearths, his presence was everywhere, and as centuries passed, he continued to evolve, remaining forever the true king of the gods.